What if Earth was inside of a nebula? Imagine waking up one morning, drawing back the blinds, and being greeted not by a familiar pale blue sky, but by swirling rivers of color, glistening blues, vibrant pinks, neon greens, and fiery oranges. Wisps and tendrils of cosmic clouds stretch across the heavens, painting the sky with an ever-shifting tapestry of light and shadow. It's not the onset of some fantastical sunrise or the aftermath of a meteorological anomaly. This is the everyday reality when Earth is nestled within a nebula. To understand the implications of such a scenario, it helps to reflect on the nature of nebulae themselves. Nebulae are immense, astonishingly beautiful clouds of dust and gas, primarily composed of hydrogen and helium, spanning light years across the galaxy. These are the birthplaces of stars, and sometimes they're graveyards. Some, like the Orion Nebula, glow with a fierce luminescence, lit from within by hot, newly formed stars. Others, like the dark nebulae, cloak regions of the galaxy in deep shadows, absorbing rather than reflecting or emitting light. Now picture the entire solar system, with the Earth and everything humanity has ever known, set adrift inside such a nebula. What would life on Earth become? How would our planet, our sun, and we ourselves adapt to life inside the heart of a celestial cloud? The very first and most striking difference would manifest in the sky. The omnipresent blue would be replaced by a swirling palette of light, painting nights and days alike in marvelous hues. Sunlight piercing through the pale, nebular haze would scatter and refract, tinting every dawn and dusk with otherworldly brilliance. Night would never be truly dark. Starlight, diffused and scattered by the nebula's particles, would softly illuminate the land, creating an ethereal glow even in the deepest hours. Astronomers, peering through their telescopes, would no longer see the universe with clarity. The dense clouds of gas and dust would scatter and obscure telescopic vision, making the study of distant galaxies, stars, and planetary systems far more challenging. The skies would seem mysterious and impenetrable, riddled with shifting patterns and opalescent veils rather than sparkled with pinpoint stars. But beyond these dazzling spectacles, there would be deeper, more profound effects, some wondrous, others potentially cataclysmic, upon the planet, its inhabitants, and the very rhythm of life itself. One of the most immediate physical consequences would be the filtered sunlight reaching Earth. Nebulae, with their vast clouds of dust and gas, are not entirely transparent. Depending on the thickness and composition of the nebula, a significant portion of the sun's rays would be scattered or absorbed before they ever reached our atmosphere. This filtering could cool the planet, much like a permanent global haze, leading to dimmer days and perhaps colder climates worldwide. Imagine winter stretching on a little bit longer each year, glaciers slowly advancing farther with each passing decade, crops struggling to mature in the diminished light. The effect would bear similarities to periods in Earth's past, such as volcanic winters, when ash-filled skies chill the surface far below. It is possible, if the density of the nebula is great enough, that a new kind of climate epoch would ensue, one whose rules were set not by Earth's own atmosphere, but by a shroud of cosmic dust and gas extending light years in all directions. Yet the nebula's presence would not just dim and cool the planet. It might also add an unexpected layer of protection. Earth is bombarded every second by cosmic rays, high-energy particles streaming in from deep space. These are mostly blocked by our magnetic field and atmosphere, but the nebula's thick clouds could provide further shielding, absorbing or deflecting some of this invisible onslaught. With fewer high-energy cosmic rays reaching the surface, rates of certain types of mutations, and possibly even some forms of cancer might fall. However, this shield would have its limits. Nebulae are dynamic. They are often sites of intense radiation, especially if new stars are forming nearby. Immense young stars flood their surroundings with energetic ultraviolet light and powerful stellar winds, causing intricate dances of ionized gas. Should the Earth be close to one of these powerhouses, our atmosphere could be subjected to increasingly fierce doses of radiation, potentially destabilizing or even stripping away the upper layers of our protective shield. Given enough time, this heightened radiation might have dramatic consequences for life. Ozone layers could thin, leaving terrestrial and marine life exposed to harmful UV rays. The unmistakable glow of auroras, normally reserved for the fringes of polar skies, might become a common nightly phenomenon, flickering across the planet as Earth's magnetosphere interacts with the ramped-up cosmic weather. The drama playing out above would be echoed below in the cycles of life itself. Plants, the green engines of Earth, rely on unfettered sunlight for photosynthesis. Should the nebula's haze rob them of their energy source, forests might wither, crops might fail, and the entire food web could teeter on the brink. Humanity would face an urgent challenge: adapt our agricultural systems to operate under faint colored light, perhaps by migrating crops, engineering new varieties, or moving much of our food production indoors under artificial illumination. Apart from the climate and ecological consequences, life inside a nebula would rewrite the rules of astronomy and human exploration. The very stars themselves, the time-honored guides of navigation, the fixed points of myth and science, would vanish behind veils of gas and dust. For thousands of years, people have looked up to pinpricks of light in the night sky, finding constellations and stories among their patterns. Beribboned nebular clouds would obscure those ancient maps, perhaps fostering new myths and legends, new ways of understanding the heavens. The universe would become shrouded, enigmatic, yet rich with new avenues for exploration. Right at the heart of our solar system, there could be more surprises. The Sun, encased within the nebula, could undergo dramatic changes of its own. As it orbits through dense clouds of interstellar material, the Sun's protective bubble, the heliosphere, might shrink as it is compressed by the nebular gas. This would allow more charged particles from the nebula to stream in toward the planets, potentially buffeting planet-sized magnetospheres and fueling brilliant, unending auroras. Our own moon could take on a new aspect. Normally, the full moon shines with dazzling brightness, bathing the landscape with a silvery glow. But seen from within a nebula, its light would be diffused and dampened. Its shadows would be softer, its phases less dramatic. Occasional meteor showers, gifts from passing comets and asteroids, would more often be hidden by the thick cosmic curtain, rarely reaching our view or burning up unseen high above. The nebula itself would be ever-changing, evolving over centuries and millennia. The solar system, like a ship at sea, would eventually drift through one section of the cloud to another, into thicker or thinner regions, from luminous columns into shadowy hollows. The hues of the sky would shift with the seasons, perhaps with the centuries. A cosmic weather, sometimes stormy, sometimes clear. Occasionally, the solar system could encounter denser knots or filaments of nebular material. The drag created by this material, minute though it might seem, could subtly alter the orbits of comets, asteroids, and even the distant outer planets. Over millions of years, such gravitational shifts could send icy bodies from the Oort cloud plunging sunward, lighting up the skies with unseasonal comets or showering the inner planets with meteorites. It isn't only the visual and climatic that would shift. Our entire perception of the cosmos would change. Think of how the scientific revolution relied, in part, on the ability to see and study the heavens. The stories of Copernicus, Galileo, and Newton, of a sun-centered solar system, of gravity's dance, rested on careful observation of celestial bodies. With those bodies obscured or wholly hidden by a nebular veil, the path of science might diverge. Astronomy, as we know it, would be an endless exercise in inference and patience, piecing together the universe not from gleaming orbs and speed-of-light messages, but from shadow, whisper, and echo. Imagine further the cultural transformation. Throughout history, the night sky has inspired humanity's greatest works of art, philosophy, and religion. What myths would be woven around an ever-present living nebula? Would poets marvel at the tide of ghostly color that sweeps the firmament nightly? Would children still wish upon stars, when the stars are faint memories lost in the tumult of colored fog? Perhaps, over centuries, the nebula would become a crucible for new forms of knowledge, the study not of distant galaxies, but of the intricate chemistry and shifting physics of the nebula itself. Scientists would launch probes and missions, not only to Mars and Jupiter, but out into the very clouds enveloping the solar system, seeking to taste, sample, and analyze the celestial matter swirling just beyond reach. Instruments would be crafted to see through the veil using X-rays, gamma rays, and radio waves unhindered by dust particles. A wholly new branch of science, uniquely adapted to a nebula-bound planet, might arise. Let us not forget the raw beauty of it all. For every challenge, every hardship melted into the colors and shadows of nebular life, there would be awe. For many, the allure of the unexplored, the ever-changing, would be irresistible. Sunrises and sunsets would never be the same. Skywatchers and artists, photographers and mystics would revel in the riot of color, shape, and light that only life within a nebula could provide. In the long arc of planetary history, there might be another, more existential gamble in such a scenario. Nebulae, after all, are not placid places. They are dense thickets of stellar birth and sometimes violence. The risk of encountering a nearby supernova increases dramatically. When a massive star within the nebula finally reaches the end of its life, it can erupt with a force unparalleled in the universe. The blast of energy and matter would flood all within its reach, overwhelming magnetic fields, searing atmospheres, and bathing the region in lethal radiation. Life on Earth and throughout the solar system could face existential threat with every neighboring flash. Given time, such an event could serve as both end and beginning. Earth's environment would be fundamentally changed, perhaps sterilized, then slowly rebuilt amid the ashes of celestial rebirth. The nebula, after all, is where stars and worlds are born. In the long story of the cosmos, perhaps our stay inside the nebula is merely one chapter in an ever-evolving tale. Still, even absent such catastrophes, Earth itself, and all life upon it, would carry a piece of the nebula inside. As cosmic dust filters into the solar system, pulled by the sun's gravity, some of it would eventually spiral down through the atmosphere, collecting in the oceans, settling on mountaintops, mixing into the soil. A future geologist, millions of years hence, might sift through ancient rock layers, finding evidence that, for an era, the entire planet was swathed in the debris and glory of a distant celestial cloud. All of this is, taken together, serves as a powerful reminder. Earth is, and always has been, a part of the cosmic story. The quiet, comforting sky we know today is itself a fleeting moment in a longer journey through a universe both beautiful and bewildering. Living inside a nebula would make that journey visible, tangible, reminding us each day and every night that we are adrift, together, in the swirling, artful dust of stars. As we imagine this alternate reality, consider how it might shape not just our science or our sky, but our sense of belonging, our relationship with the wider cosmos. Perhaps humanity, awed by the constant display overhead, would see itself more directly as part of a living, breathing universe, an ever-dancing fabric of light and dark, matter and energy, birth and decay. Let us walk for a moment in this world. Imagine standing on a hill as dusk falls, watching immense tendrils of color slide across the sky. In the distance, a city's lights are dim, their glow muted by the omnipresent radiance above. The air shivers with anticipation, as though the very molecules know that something extraordinary lies beyond the reach of your eyes. You reach down and gather a handful of dust, and for the first time truly believe, this too is stardust. This is the stuff of nebulae, now one with Earth, one with you. You could peer up, not toward distant stars, but into the heart of creation itself, witnessing nightly the birthplaces of suns and the remains of ancient, shattered worlds. Children would grow up taking for granted this living canopy overhead. For them, the Earth would not merely be a world among worlds, but each day would be a lesson in cosmic kinship. The swirling nebula would become part of their language, their songs, their patterns of prayer and hope. On calendars, holidays would shift to celebrate the changing colors of the nebular season, the time of the green tide, the purple sweep, or the orange flare, corresponding to the planet's passage through richer or leaner clouds. Artists would find themselves continually challenged, yet newly inspired, to capture the nuance and vitality of skies that never stop transforming. Philosophers would debate the meaning of existence, reminded constantly that everything, every atom, every life, every thought, is, quite literally, assembled from the remnants of cosmic chaos. And perhaps, most of all, humanity would learn to cherish the fleeting moments of clarity, for every now and then the solar system would slip into a rare, tranquil hollow in the nebula, and for the briefest of nights, the ancient stars would return, gleaming brightly through the thinning haze, witnessing a world changed, yet forever yearning for connection. In this alternate history, living within the heart of a nebula would be as much a story of imagination as of science, a daily reminder that Earth, with all its life and wonder, is inseparable from the wider dance of the cosmos. It would be a challenge for our technology, our biology, our society, but also a gift, painting every day and every night in reminders of where we truly come from, the clouds, the stars, and the dust between worlds. So the next time you gaze upward and find comfort in the clarity of stars, consider just for a moment how it might feel to trade that familiar sky for oceans of living color, a world where every breath and every heartbeat is matched by the riotous, ceaseless beauty of a nebula wrapped inexorably around our world. Thank you for watching the video. What do you think about today's topic? Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like and share the video to support the channel. Thanks again, and see you in the next video.